Welcome back to Jack English Learning Podcast. I'm Jack, and today we are absolutely dismantling the toolkit of the modern manipulator. We are diving deep into 7 genius ways to outsmart manipulators, using the ruthless, pragmatic tactics of Niccolo Machiavelli himself.
I'm Sara, and we're going to explore how to turn the tables on toxic dynamics. If you stay until the end, you won't need to look this topic up again because we'll cover it in full detail, from the psychology of the trap to the specific scripts you need to escape it.
You know, it's funny, whenever we touch on this topic of manipulation, there's this instant image that pops into people's minds. We tend to picture a movie villain.
Right, someone in a dark room, twirling a mustache and plotting something evil. It's the caricature.
It is. It's totally a caricature. But the picture that all this research paints is...
Well, it's so much more disturbing because it's so much more ordinary.
That's the real scary part.
Mm-hmm.
The modern manipulator doesn't look like a villain.
Not at all.
That's their greatest camouflage. I mean, if they looked like monsters, we'd all just...
Yeah.
We'd run away, right? Of course. You'd see them coming a mile away.
But instead, they look like your best friend. They look like that unbelievably charming person you just started dating.
Or, that really helpful colleague at work who they just want to mentor you.
Or even a family member, the one who's always saying, I just want what's best for you.
That line.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they really operate on a spectrum. It's not all or nothing. On one end, you have minor influence.
Which, let's be honest, we all do that to some extent.
Right.
We try to persuade people. We present ourselves in a good light.
Of course, that's just social interaction. But on the far other end of that spectrum, that's where you find the calculated, systematic psychological control.
And to navigate that, to even survive it, we're borrowing a playbook from someone who is, frankly, completely misunderstood, Niccolo Machiavelli.
Yeah, when you hear the word Machiavellian, it's almost always an insult.
It is. It means you're sneaky or two-faced or just plain evil.
But for this deep dive, we're suggesting we need to kind of reclaim his philosophy. We need to look at what's called Machiavellian realism.
I love that term. Realism. It's not about being cynical, it's about being a realist.
Exactly. It isn't about becoming evil yourself. It's not about learning how to exploit other people. It's about looking at the world as it actually is, not as we wish it would be.
He had a great phrase for it. He called it the effectual truth of human behavior.
The effectual truth. So if you're out there navigating the world based on how you wish people would act,
assuming everyone is basically good and honest and they all play fair,
you are essentially walking through a jungle with a blindfold on.
And you're making yourself prey. You're making yourself a target for someone who navigates the world based on how people actually behave.
If you pretend there are no wolves, the wolves just see an easy meal.
There's this quote from the Prince that it really stuck with me while I was prepping for this. He wrote, "One who wishes to act entirely up to his profession of virtue soon meets with what destroys him."
It's a heavy line. It's chilling, really, but it gets right to the core tension of what we're talking about today.
It really does.
Because most of us, and probably most of you listening, were raised to be kind, to be open and honest and giving.
Those are beautiful traits. We're not saying to get rid of them.
No, not at all. But manipulators, they weaponize those exact traits against you. They look for that softness. They hunt for your desire to be a good person.
So the mission today isn't to stop being a good person. It's to shift your entire mindset.
From what? A victim mindset?
To a strategist mindset. From victim to strategist. I like that framing. It's about protection, not aggression.
Exactly. So before we get into the really heavy tactics, and trust me, we have some incredibly practical scripts coming up later, I think we should throw a question out there.
Yeah, let's do an interactive question. We're going to do a few of these today just to keep you checking in with your own instincts.
Okay, so here's the first one. It's a simple choice, A or B.
Think about a time when you felt someone really pressuring you. Maybe it's a boss pushing for a deadline you know is just impossible, or a partner demanding an answer right this second.
What is your first gut-level instinct? Is it A, appease them just to keep the peace and lower the tension in the room?
Or B, push back immediately and hold your ground, even if it feels uncomfortable?
And be honest with yourself. Don't answer with what you think the right answer is. What do you actually do in that split second?
Just keep that answer in your head, because I have a feeling it might change a little by the end of this deep dive.
And hey, if you want to become a master of human behavior and learn more of these psychology-based strategies, this is the perfect time to subscribe or follow the show. We're going to be doing a lot more on emotional intelligence and boundaries.
And liking the deep dive really helps more people find these tools.
Okay, so Before we can even think about using Machiavelli's tactics, we have to understand the terrain, we have to map out the trap itself. Why do smart, capable people fall for this stuff?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And that brings us to part 1, the psychology of the trap.
The sources we looked at describe it as an emotional cage. And it turns out manipulators, they aren't just bumping into people randomly, they're hunting.
They're headhunting. They're looking for very specific personality traits.
Exactly. They are scanning for what you could call softness. And by softness, I don't mean weakness. That's a really important distinction.
Right. It's not about being weak.
It's about being open. They're looking for open wounds from your past, for approval-seeking behavior, for a tendency to feel guilty easily.
So if you're someone who has this deep, burning need to be liked by literally everyone, you're basically glowing on their radar.
They're a lighthouse. And if you have a hard time saying no because you immediately feel this wave of guilt, they see that as an entry point. It's a door left unlocked.
And the first thing they do to get through that door, something we hear about all the time, but maybe don't fully understand, it's called love bombing.
Yeah, I used to think that just meant being really, really romantic. You know, bringing flowers, sending lots of texts, these huge gestures.
Me too. But it's much more technical than that, isn't it? It's a psychological hack.
It is a total hack. Love bombing is that initial phase of just excessive flattery, constant attention, and this incredibly intense focus on you. They mirror you. They make you feel like you are the only person in the world.
And it feels amazing. It feels like a high.
And that's exactly what it is designed to be. It's a high. On a deep level, it activates the reward centers in your mind. It creates this intense rush of validation and excitement.
It's creating a dependency. You feel so seen, so special, and you start to crave that feeling.
You get addicted to their approval. And that's the whole point. Because once you're addicted to the high,
they can take it away.
That's the setup. Once they know you are completely hooked on their validation, that's when they introduce the most powerful conditioning tool in their entire arsenal: intermittent reinforcement.
This concept, it honestly blew my mind when I first really got it. It's basically the gambling machine dynamic, but applied to human beings.
Think about a slot machine in a casino. If you pulled the lever and every single time you got nothing, what would you do?
I'd walk away in 5 minutes. I'd assume the machine is broken.
Okay, and what if you won the jackpot every single time you pulled it?
I mean, that'd be great for a while, but eventually I'd probably get bored. The thrill would be gone.
Exactly. But what if you pull the lever and sometimes you win big, sometimes you lose, sometimes you get nothing, and you never, ever know which one it's going to be?
You'll sit there until you're bankrupt. You'll keep pulling that lever, chasing the win.
That is terrifying. And that is intermittent reinforcement. The manipulator will be so warm and loving one day, and then the next, they're cold and distant for no reason.
It'll be your best friend in the morning and a total stranger in the afternoon.
And because it's so unpredictable, your mind just goes into overdrive trying to solve the puzzle.
You start analyzing everything.
You become hyper-focused on them. You start thinking, what did I do today that made them nice? Okay, I need to do that again. Or what did I say yesterday that made them pull away? I can't do that again.
We're constantly scanning for patterns that don't actually exist.
You're working for their approval. You're chasing that win from the slot machine.
You're completely addicted to the unpredictability.
Yeah.
And while you're distracted by that chase, they start rolling out what the research calls distortion tactics.
Right. So let's unpack a few of these. The biggest one, the one everyone talks about, is gaslighting. But I want to be really clear on this. Is gaslighting just another word for lying?
That's such an important question. And no, it's not.
Okay, so what's the difference?
A lie is simply hiding the truth. You know, I didn't eat the last cookie. Gaslighting is a direct attack on your perception of reality.
So it's not, I didn't eat the cookie. It's
I never even bought cookies. Why are you making things up again? You're acting so crazy.
Wow. Okay. So lying is about the cookie. Gaslighting is about your sanity.
Exactly. The goal of gaslighting isn't just to win an argument. The goal is to erode your self-trust. They want to make you feel like you can't trust your own memory or your own judgment.
So when they say things like, you're being too sensitive, or they never happened, or you're just imagining things.
If they say that enough times, you actually start to believe them. You start to depend on them to interpret reality for you. And that is the ultimate form of control.
While they're doing that, they might also use triangulation, which I think is designed just to create insecurity.
Oh, it's pure insecurity fuel.
Triangulation is when they introduce a third party into the dynamic. to basically foster competition. It can be a real person or it can be a totally imagined one.
Like a partner saying, you know, my ex never had a problem with this.
Or a boss saying, you know, Sara in accounting is really stepping up lately. I'm not sure why you seem to be struggling.
Ugh. And suddenly you're not looking at the manipulator's bad behavior anymore.
No, you're looking over at Sara in accounting and trying to figure out how to beat her.
It shifts the focus completely. You start competing for the manipulator's favor instead of questioning their tactics. It's a brilliant and awful distraction technique.
And the third one is projection.
Ah, yes. The old, I know you are, but what am I? Defense.
It's basically that, but on a much more serious level. Projection is when they accuse you of their own behaviors. A deeply dishonest person will constantly accuse you of lying.
Or a very selfish person will accuse you of being selfish.
And what does that do? It immediately forces you onto the defensive.
Right. So instead of having a conversation about their selfishness, you end up spending the next 2 hours trying to prove that you're a generous person. You're fighting a battle on their terms, on their territory.
It's exhausting.
It is absolutely designed to be exhausting because a tired mind is so much easier to control.
Okay, this feels like a good place for our second interactive moment. I want you to take a second and pause and reflect.
Think of a difficult relationship in your life right now. It could be at work, a friend, a family member, anyone.
And ask yourself this. Do you feel constantly confused in that relationship? Do you feel like you are always walking on eggshells, just monitoring every single word to avoid an explosion or the silent treatment?
If you answered yes to that, that's not just anxiety. That is your intuition. That is your mind sending up a massive flare, signaling a trap.
But the good news is we have the key to the cage. And this is where we move into part 2. Machiavellian mindset. This is where we stop being the pawn.
Yes. This is the big shift to what we called strategic realism. And for me, the biggest takeaway from all the research is that you have to stop asking one simple question.
Which is?
Why?
Oh, that's interesting. We get so stuck in that loop, don't we? Why are they doing this? Why don't they care about my feelings? Why are they being so mean?
Those are all emotional questions.
They are. You're basically looking for empathy from a person who is using strategy. You're trying to solve a logic puzzle using feelings, and it will never work.
So the Machiavellian question isn't why. It's
what is the strategy here?
Exactly. You have to view it analytically. You have to step back from the emotional chaos and just observe.
And to do that, you have to learn to treat your own emotion as data.
That sounds a bit cold. Emotion is data. How do you actually do that without turning into a robot?
It's not about not feeling. That's the key. In private, when you're alone or with a trusted friend, feel everything. Cry, scream into a pillow, vent, get it all out.
But in front of the manipulator.
You must appear to feel nothing.
Why? What's the strategic advantage there?
Because your emotions, your anger, your tears, your defensiveness, that's all data for them. If they insult you and you start to cry, they learn that insults work. They learn exactly where your soft spots are.
It's like you're literally handing them a map of all your vulnerabilities.
A perfect map. If they know that questioning your intelligence makes you defensive, they will keep that tool in their back pocket for the next time they need to control you.
So hiding your reactions removes their map. They're flying blind.
And this is where Machiavelli talks about being the fox and the lion.
Right. He says you need to be the fox to recognize the traps, to see the gaslighting, to spot the triangulation from a mile away.
And you need to be the lion to scare off the wolves when it's necessary.
And one of the best fox moves, one of the sneakiest, is something called strategic ignorance.
Oh, I love this one. It's the art of playing dumb.
Which feels so counterintuitive. I mean, especially in a workplace setting, you want to look smart. You want to call them out and say, hey, I know exactly what you're doing.
But think about it. The moment you say, I know what you're doing, you put their guard up. You signal that you're an enemy, and they'll just get smarter with their tactics.
So strategic ignorance is seeing the game.
But acting like you don't have a clue.
You let them think they're fooling you.
And what happens when someone thinks they're fooling you? They get arrogant, they get sloppy.
And they reveal their true intentions because they don't think you're smart enough to be paying attention.
So you don't correct them. You don't challenge them right away. You collect information.
You nod. You say, oh, really? That's interesting. And you just file it away. You're gathering evidence while they think they're winning the game.
Okay, so we've got the mindset. We're observing, not reacting. We're playing dumb when we need to. We're treating our emotions as private data.
Now let's get into the actual combat tactics. Part 3, tactical defense, silence, delay, and space.
And the first weapon in this arsenal is, Well, it's nothing.
It's silence. The power of the pause.
Tactic number 1 is the emotion vacuum, or what you can call strategic silence.
Manipulators absolutely rely on reactivity. They need it like oxygen. They provoke you, and they expect a reaction. They're waiting for you to defend yourself or get angry or apologize.
So the move here, the Machiavellian move, is to give them absolutely nothing. No anger, no smile, just stillness. You become an emotional vacuum.
Why does this work so well? I mean, I feel like silence usually makes me uncomfortable.
That is exactly why it works. Silence creates a void that human beings are socially conditioned to fill. We hate awkward silences. But manipulators specifically need feedback. They need to know if their manipulation is landing. They need to see you react to know they've hit the target.
And when you're just silent, they have no idea what you're thinking.
They're flying blind. They completely lose their bearing. And what almost always happens is they will rush to fill that silence. They'll start over-explaining or backtracking, or they might even expose their own lies just to get any kind of reaction out of you.
So it's not passivity, it's not weakness, it's surgical controls. You're holding your ground and just letting them drown in their own words.
And that's directly connected to tactic 2, deliberate delay.
This is the one for when they use that false urgency.
Yeah.
You know the type.
Oh, yeah. I need an answer, NW, or this whole deal is off, or if you don't come over right now, then don't bother coming at all.
It's all about pressure.
And there's a rule here, speed kills logic. If they can make you move fast, they can force you to make mistakes. They bypass your critical thinking skills entirely.
They trigger that sense of panic, so you act on pure instinct, not reason.
So the move is to deliberately slow down time. You take back control of the clock.
You just say something simple like, I need to consider this properly. Or my personal favorite, I'll let you know tomorrow.
That must drive them absolutely insane. They're looking for immediate compliance.
It shatters their rhythm. It completely breaks their momentum. You're signaling that you operate on your own timeline, not theirs. Huge power shift.
You're reclaiming your authority. You're basically saying, my thoughtful process is more important than your manufactured urgency.
Okay, this feels like a good time for another question for our listeners. Interactive question 3.
This one's a rating. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is I'd rather do anything else, and 10 is I'm completely comfortable.
Yeah.
How comfortable are you with awkward silence?
I mean, a really awkward, you're just staring at each other kind of silence.
If you're a 1 or a 2, that's totally normal. Most of us are. We're conditioned to be polite, to fill the gaps in conversation.
But to outsmart a manipulator, you have to work on getting that number up. We want you to be an 8 or a 9. You have to learn to sit in that awkwardness and let them be the one to break first.
It's a skill you can build. And just a quick reminder, if you're finding value in these tactics, if this is helping you build your emotional armor, please take a second to like this deep dive and subscribe to the show.
It genuinely helps us get these tools out to more people who really, really need them.
Okay, so let's move on to part 4. These are for when you can't just go silent. Maybe you have to interact with this person daily because they're your boss or your co-parent.
This is tactical defense, level 2, invisibility, and mirroring. And tactic 3 is probably one of the most famous in the psychology world, the gray rock method.
The name says it all, really. The goal is to become as boring, as uninteresting, and as untextured as a plain gray rock.
You just blend into the background, you become part of the scenery.
Exactly. So when you have to interact, you use these flat, monotone answers. Okay, I see. Interesting.
You offer no personal details, no opinions, no gossip. You become an information black hole.
You talk about the weather, you talk about traffic, you are mind-numbingly boring.
And you're doing this to starve them of what they're looking for.
You're starving them of drama. The deep psychological mechanism here is called extinction. The manipulator is looking for supply.
And supply is just emotional reaction, trauma, conflict.
Any of it. If you don't provide it, you're a boring toy, and eventually they'll stop playing with you and go find someone else who reacts.
But there's a really important warning that comes with this one, right? The extinction burst.
Yes. And this is where most people fail when they try to use the gray rock method. When you first start, the manipulator doesn't just give up and go away.
They escalate.
They poke harder. They think, my button seems to be broken. I need to smash it. They might get meaner or louder or way more dramatic than usual. That's the extinction burst.
So it actually gets worse before it gets better.
It almost always does, but that escalation is actually a sign that it's working. You've cut off their supply and they're panicking.
So consistency is everything. If you break and react during that burst.
You've just taught them that they just need to try harder next time to get what they want. You have to hold the line.
Okay. So tactic 4 is the mirror defense. This one sounds a bit more active, more engaged.
It is. This is for when they're probing for information or being passive-aggressive. The idea is to reflect their behavior right back at them, but without any emotional charge.
So if they're being very formal with you, you're very formal back. If they withdraw and give one-word answers, you do the same.
Exactly. And the most powerful use of it is for when they ask those probing, invasive questions. You don't answer it. You mirror it back.
With a question of your own.
Why do you ask? Or what makes you say
Why do you ask? Is such a simple but such a powerful move.
It is, because it forces them to explain their intent. And usually their intent is manipulative or just plain nosy, so they'll fumble. They don't have a good answer.
Manipulators hate looking at themselves. They want the spotlight on you.
And mirroring holds up a mirror to their own behavior. It completely disrupts the dynamic they rely on.
Okay, let's make all of this really real. I think we need a case study. Part 5, mini case study. Let's do a classic workplace scenario.
All right, let's talk about Alex.
We all know an Alex.
Okay.
Okay, so Alex is a coworker who acts like your best friend in private. Lots of that love bombing stuff we talked about. Oh, we're the only smart ones here. Everyone else is incompetent.
Right, building that special, exclusive bond. Us against the world.
But then, in meetings, Alex constantly takes credit for your ideas, right in front of everyone. And Alex loves false urgency, sending you frantic emails at 9 p.m. saying, we need to finish this tonight. But then he's nowhere to be found the next day.
A classic. Alex is using that intermittent reinforcement, the friendship mixed with the betrayal, and the false urgency to control your time and energy. He's mining you for resources while keeping you emotionally off balance.
So if I'm the target here, my first instinct is just to get mad. I want to stand up in that meeting and yell, hey, that was my idea.
But if you do that, what happens?
Alex will immediately play the victim. Whoa, Jack, calm down. We're a team here. Why are you being so aggressive?
That's just summarizing our conversation.
And now you look petty. You look unstable. You look like you're not a team player.
I've lost. He's won.
Exactly. You lost the game.
So how do we fix this? How do we use Machiavelli's tactics to handle Alex?
Okay, first move, reward reversal. You have to stop validating Alex in private. When he comes to you to seek praise or tries to gossip, you give him nothing. Total indifference. Gray rock. Oh, that's nice.
Okay, so I cut off the supply of validation. What about in the meeting when he's stealing my work?
2 things, ambiguity armor and information asymmetry. It means you stop telling Alex all your best ideas before the meeting. You keep your work private until you're in the room with the boss.
Don't give him the ammunition. And what if he tries to steal it right there in the moment? That's when you use public fact-checking, but you do it calmly. You use a calm, boring correction. Actually, Alex, that's a great point, and it builds on the brief I wrote last week where I outlined.
So you're not accusing, you're just stating a fact. You're bringing the receipts, but in a very professional way.
Exactly. No emotion, just facts. And what about those late-night emails? The 9 p.m. panic attacks he sends.
Ah, right. Strategic delay.
You do not reply at 9 p.m. You simply don't. You reply at 9 a.m. the next day. A simple, thanks, I'll review this today. You break the cycle of false urgency.
That is so satisfying to even think about. It's taking all the power back without ever having a big dramatic confrontation.
It is dominance without confrontation. It is winning the war without fighting the battle.
Okay, I want to practice this. Let's move to part 6. Boundary script roleplay. I'm going to be the manipulator. I'll channel my inner Alex, and you show us how to shut it down.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, scenario 1. The pressure cooker. I'm trying to force a decision out of you right now. Look, I need an answer on this right now or the whole deal is going to fall apart. Why are you stalling? Just tell me yes or no.
I'm not stalling, I'm thinking. I'll give you an answer when I'm ready. If you need an answer this second, the answer is no.
Oof. That last part. If you need an answer this second, the answer is no. That is a total showstopper.
It calls their bluff, because if the deal is real, they can wait an hour. If it's just a manipulation tactic, they'll panic.
Okay, I see that. Scenario 2. The guilt trip. After everything I've done for you, you can't do this one little favor. I guess I'm not a priority to you.
Calm, flat tone. I understand you're disappointed, but I can't do it this time.
Wait, that's it. There's no, I'm sorry, no. It's just that I'm so busy with.
Nope. That is falling into the JADE trap. Justify, argue, defend, explain. You never jade. The moment you start explaining, you give them leverage to argue with you.
Like, I can't because I have to wash my hair. And they say, oh, you can wash it later. This is more important.
Exactly. Your justifications just become openings for negotiation for them. When you just say, I can't, it's a wall. It's a complete sentence, no cracks for them to get into.
It is so hard not to apologize, though. We are so socially trained to say, I'm sorry.
It is, but remember the principle, reward reversal. If you apologize, you are rewarding their guilt trip. You are teaching them that making you feel guilty works.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Scenario 3, the invasive question. I'm trying to get information from you that I can use against you later. So, what are you planning to do about that promotion? Who have you been talking to? Is it true what I heard that you're unhappy in this department?
Vaguely. I'm still processing my options. It really depends on how things evolve.
That was incredibly vague.
That's the ambiguity armor. I gave you words, but I gave you zero actual information. Processing, evolve, considering it sounds like a polite answer, but it tells you absolutely nothing.
You're like fog. I can't grab onto anything in that sentence.
That is the goal. Be the fog. If they can't grab you, they can't throw you.
This is a perfect transition into part 7, advanced tactics. We've touched on reward reversal and ambiguity armor, but I want to talk about what might be the ultimate weapon, tactic 6, the exit threat.
This one feels like the nuclear option, but in a way, it's also the source of all your real power.
The sources we looked at called it psychological oxygen control.
It's this simple.
Yeah.
The ultimate power in any negotiation or any relationship is the genuine willingness to walk away.
And manipulators rely on the opposite of that. They rely on the sunk cost fallacy, the idea that you've already put so much time and energy in you can't possibly leave now.
They rely on your fear of loss, your fear of starting over.
So the tactic isn't necessarily leaving tomorrow, but it's being internally willing to leave.
Yes, you don't need to announce it. You don't make a big threat. I'm leaving you. That's emotional and that's a mistake. You just need to internally accept that you could leave. You need to know where the door is and be fully willing to walk through it if you have to.
And how does that internal shift change things in the moment?
It changes your energy. It changes your whole vibe.
Right.
When you're no longer terrified of losing the relationship, you stop tolerating nonsense. You become detached. You stop pleading for them to be nice.
And manipulators can smell that detachment, can't they?
Oh, they panic. When they realize their usual hooks, the guilt, the fear, the obligation, aren't landing anymore because you're already halfway out the door mentally, the dynamic flips. That's when they often start scrambling to win you back.
Which brings us back to Machiavelli. He said, it is safer to be feared than loved. And in this context, feared doesn't mean you're a scary person.
No. In this context, feared means they respect your boundaries because they know you will enforce them without hesitation.
Feared means respected. It means they know that if they cross your non-negotiable line, you will simply disappear. You will take your labor, your attention, your presence, and give it to someone else.
And that is the only consequence that a true manipulator really understands and respects.
Okay, let's bust some common myths, because I think a lot of people get this stuff wrong. This is part 8, myth versus fact. Myth number 1, you need to confront a manipulator to expose them.
Right. I feel like every movie ends with that big confrontation scene where the hero stands up and lists all the villain's crimes and everyone gasps.
It looks so satisfying in a script.
But in real life, that usually backfires catastrophically. So, fact number 1. A big confrontation is a gift to a manipulator. They will use a technique called DARVO.
DARVO, what's that stand for?
Deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender.
Okay, walk me through that.
If you confront them, first they will deny it ever happened. I never said that. Then they will attack your memory or your character. You're crazy, you're too sensitive. And then they reverse victim and offender. Suddenly, they're the victim of your horrible attack, and you are the abuser.
So what's the better move then?
The better move is often to let them win small, meaningless battles. Use that strategic ignorance. Let them think they're getting away with it while you, in the background, are documenting everything.
You don't expose them with a big speech. You expose them with a paper trail. Or by stepping back and letting them hang themselves with their own rope.
Exactly. Okay, myth number 2. Being a gray rock means you're being weak or passive.
Fact. It is an active state of high discipline. Have you ever actually tried to not react when someone is pushing your exact specific buttons?
It's one of the hardest things to do. It takes immense internal strength.
It is way harder than just yelling back.
It is strategic dominance, not submission. You are the one controlling the flow of emotional energy in the room. You're the dam holding back the water.
And the last one, myth number 3. You can change them if you just love them enough.
This is probably the most dangerous myth of all. The fact is, you cannot fix a personality structure that relies on exploitation for its own sense of worth.
They don't see your love as a cure.
They see your love as a resource. It's a weakness to be exploited, not a gift to be cherished. Your only job is to focus on protecting yourself, not on trying to change them.
That is a really hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, but accepting it can save you years of your life.
It really can.
Okay, so we have all these tactics, but putting them into practice is stressful. Your heart starts racing, your palms get sweaty. We need part 9, practical tools for self-protection and emotional stability.
Right. Tool number 1 is simple: documentation. We call this the reality anchor.
Because their whole game is to distort your reality.
Exactly. So you keep a factual, boring record, dates, times, exact quotes. Not, Alex was mean to me today. It's, on Tuesday at 2:15 p.m., Alex said, quote, "Your work is always sloppy."
So when they gaslight you later and say, "I never said that, I would never say that," you don't have to argue. You could just look at your notes and know, okay, I'm not crazy. They are lying.
It preserves your sanity. It anchors you in objective truth when they're trying to pull you out to sea.
And tool 2 is all about emotional regulation. You cannot be strategic if you are in a state of panic.
You can't. If your heart is pounding out of your chest, your logic center basically goes offline. You become reactive. You act like prey.
So what do we do in that moment?
We use a technique called centering. It's a focus technique. Before you reply to that triggering text or before you walk into that tense meeting, you stop, you pause.
And you breathe?
You focus on your breathing. You can do what's called box breathing. In for 4 counts, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. You just do that 2 or 3 times.
And what does that do on a practical level?
It sends a signal to your mind that you are safe. It lowers that sense of false urgency. It brings your rational mind back online so you can be strategic.
And we can also use grounding.
Yes. Physically, feel your feet on the floor. Look around the room and mentally name 3 blue things you see. Remind yourself that you are physically safe. You are dealing with a difficult person, not a tiger that's about to eat you.
It pulls you out of your head and into the present moment. Okay, I want to ask our final interactive question here. This one is just for reflection.
What is one specific boundary you have been afraid to set? It can be small or big. Maybe it's telling your mom not to call you multiple times during the workday. Maybe it's telling a friend you can't loan the money again.
Just bring that situation to mind. And now imagine setting that boundary using one of the scripts we just practiced. Imagine just saying, "I understand you're in a tough spot, but I can't do that," and then stopping. No explanation.
How does that feel in your body? Does it feel scary? Does it feel liberating?
Just sit with that feeling for a second, because that feeling of liberation, that is the feeling of taking your power back.
We have covered so much ground today. We've gone all the way from the emotional cage to the exit threat.
So let's wrap this all up with a really tight 3-bullet recap.
Okay, let's distill it down to the core takeaways.
Emotion is data. Stop reacting to their provocations. Start calculating. Use strategic silence and deliberate delay to break their control and hide your buttons from them.
Number 2, become unreadable. Use the gray rock method, use ambiguity armor, and use mirroring. If they can't read you, they can't manipulate you, you have to starve them of the drama that they crave.
And number 3, power is independence. Your strongest position is always your genuine willingness to walk away. That is the exit threat. When you don't need them, they fundamentally cannot control you.
And as always, we have a weekly challenge for you. This one is called the 24-hour delay challenge.
For the next 7 days, if anyone pressures you for an immediate yes or no on something that isn't a true emergency, someone asking for a favor, an invitation, a commitment, you are going to force a delay.
You just say the magic words, "Let me think about it, I'll let you know tomorrow."
And then you just observe how they react. If they're cool with it, great. If they get angry or try to guilt trip you or panic, you just spotted a manipulator in the wild.
That is going to be a very interesting and maybe very revealing week for some of you.
And next time on our deep dive, we are flipping the script entirely. We've talked all about toxic people. Next time, we're looking at the psychology of super connectors.
How to build a network of people who actually support you and lift you up rather than draining your energy. You will not want to miss that.
If you found this deep dive helpful, please subscribe and share this with a friend. We all have at least one person in our lives who needs to hear this.
Knowledge is power, but only when it's understood and applied. Stay safe out there, become a strategist, and protect your peace.
Thanks for listening.
I'm Jack.
And I'm Sarah. See you in the next deep dive.